Hello, everybody. Wanted to talk about a very beautiful memory I have from 1961. I was hardly 15, and believe it or not, that was the first time I was going by myself in a train from Wadhwan to Mumbai. I traveled before many times, but with somebody or the other. But this time I was all by myself, solo. And my grandfather, who loved me, of course, and who really was a very concerned grandparent, was very worried. I don't know, how are you going to make it? Do this and do that, and be careful. Don't get off at any station, otherwise you might miss the train. A lot of advices, and I said, yes, Dadaji, yes, Dadaji. I understood his concerns, but I also knew that I could do it. It's no problem. But kept a low profile and said, yes, Dadaji, I will. I'll be very careful, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so we get to the station, and at Wadhwan station, and from Wadhwan to Surendranagar, there is a stretch of maybe half an hour. And then from Surendranagar to Viramgam, and then from Viramgam to Mumbai. So there are three connections. Fortunately, from Surendranagar, I didn't have to change the train because the same bogie which I was in would take me to Viramgam. And then from Viramgam, I'll have to change from meter gauge line to broad gauge line, in those days. And then that'll take me to Mumbai. That was the whole arrangement. That's how it went in those days. And that's why a very common phrase has come, via Viramgam. That is because after Viramgam, it was meter gauge. Anyway, so I get into the compartment, not very crowded, and I sit down. I have just one small bag with my clothes in it. I had nothing else. 2 or 3 shirts and, a couple of trousers and underwear and all that. And then my grandfather is telling me, repeating all the instructions. Now, in the window is sitting in my grandfather was on the platform, and I was already on the window seat. On the other window seat was a man about 40, 45 years old, tall, handsome. He was listening to all this, and he just was nodding, what my grandfather was saying. And then my grandfather kind of confided in him. He said, my grandson is going to Mumbai for the first time. So please, if you are going that far, please help him, and kind of look after him. So this man said, no problem. I will. I understand how it is. Please don't worry. I will be with him till Baroda. By that time, he would have gone to sleep anyway. So my grandfather was sort of relieved. The train started, and we started talking about this and that, and he was asking me about me, and I was too young and didn't want to bother him and ask him too many personal questions. But I did find out that he was going to Delhi for some professional reason. I still remember his face, tall, handsome. He wore short sleeve bush shirt, beautiful, very ironed, trousers and shoes, and very well dressed, very well behaved, well mannered. And since I had lived in Uganda and had a lot of Punjabi friends, I could tell that he was a Punjabi from his accent. But I didn't mention that, of course. And then we started talking, and he told me about the trains and this and that. And then after Surendranagar, I thought we will be separated, but somehow we managed to be together in the same bogie. And I was in the next cube, but he asked the other person that can you do change and put this young man next to me? So the man obliged, So I was here and he was there. Then, he said, what are you going to do about your dinner? I said, well, my grandma has given me some snacks and some food. And he said, keep that for later. You will eat with me. So he ordered food on the train, dining car. And so we got two dishes full of food. I don't remember what it was, but sabji and chawal and dal and paratha and all the usual railway stuff. So he said, please, and I was feeling a little embarrassed. I said, no, I'm fine. He said, no, I ordered it for you, eat it. So we ate. Then he told me a very beautiful thing. He said, look, young man, he said, I don't know much about your family, your parents, and I'm sure they all love you. But he said, I did see your grandfather and he loves you a lot. I could see that in his eyes from whatever he was talking to you about. And he said, you are so lucky to have such a loving grandfather. I said, yes, I know that. I have a very loving grandfather and a grandmother. And I said, I have a very loving grandfather and grandmother on my mother's side. I said, I'm the eldest, so I've been able to get all the love and attention. So he said, very good. He said, you are fortunate to be loved by all, but please make sure that you never hurt them. He said it so nicely, and not like he was preaching. He just said, when people love you like this, it's very easy to hurt them because you did a little bit something which you don't think much about and suddenly they are hurt. So try to be very careful and don't hurt them. I said, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then we talked about other things. What are you studying? He asked me. What were my interests and all that. I wish I could have talked more about him, asked him some questions. I don't know. Maybe I felt like I was prying into his private life or whatever. But we had a very pleasant time. After Ahmedabad, everybody was going to sleep. And he said, you should go to bed now. Lights were dimmed, and in the sleeper. And he said he will be getting off at Baroda. And then he wished me all the best of luck. And then I told him good night, and I went to sleep. I could sleep in those days in trains. These days I can't. It's too noisy and too uncomfortable. I went to sleep, and I don't know when the train arrived at Baroda station and when he got off and everything. But when I got up in the morning, it was already Palghar, and then the Bombay used to call it then, the Bombay sign started coming, and I was ready and up and about to get into my vacation in Mumbai. But I told this to my uncle and auntie, Kaka and Kaki, with whom I was staying for the vacation. And they also were very happy about this gentleman who was with me on the train and who gave me such beautiful advice. I still remember his face. Do you believe that? If I met him right now, I would recognize him. I'm sure he is an old man now, if he's still alive. But some people you just cannot forget. We were together from, say, 5:30 till about 10, 5 hours. And it's a memory of lifetime.